If you are a female that is in the armed forces in combat, you are probably overqualified for that position.
Soon as they open up their mouth, especially this one, you just can't make this up.
I'll put that out there. But let me say this. You know, a lot of his responses were, this is just a smear campaign. This is just anonymous. Even his mother, I guess, is an anonymous source. He was saying
You just can't make it up, y'all. You just can't make this up. The spew. Tackling Hands is back at it again. We want to thank you to the women on the spew. We just keep on winning. And we're going to keep winning. And it's going to be win after win after win. God bless America. God bless them beautiful patriots around the world. Let's jump in.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Sipping on that gin and juice. Sipping on that gin and juice. Sipping on that juice. Sipping on that gin and juice. And that moonshine. Cheers. We got 4 days. What is it, 4 days? 4 days now. Cheers to them beautiful patriots around the world, my brothers and sisters. We pass it around now in broad daylight. They used to pass it around at night. We pass it around now in broad daylight. Yep. They say I've never seen a show get so many lawsuits in one day. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 lawsuits in one day. But hey, they didn't know that a president can go on 6 vacations in a 1 week time span. So let's go and get into it. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. God bless them beautiful patriots around the world. One love to the human race. I love you guys, man. Whether you're liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, you know. But the things these women are finna say, I just, you know, this is one of the reasons why we won. Shout out to the ladies on the spew. The view? No, the spew. Hatred, Trump derangement syndrome, TDS stage 5. Stage 6, it gets even worse. Yeah. And it's going to get even worse after January 20th for these ladies. But not for us. We're going to keep winning. Yeah. We're going to make America great again, baby. Needs to change. Criminals pardoning criminals. Just spit in the American, just spit in everybody's face. One of the worst administrations, worst presidency. He done fell asleep. He done went on vacation. He said, hey, here y'all go, here y'all go. Been sitting billions over here. But everybody done lost everything. House burned down. And what do they get? $770, a one-time payment. Hurricane victims. How did that play out? Threat to democracy, Hitler, dictator. How did that play out? Fake news, propaganda, all the fear mongering. Dictator on day one, that was years ago. Did y'all forget? You come after your political opponent, couldn't beat them fair and square. It's January the 15th now, and we still do not know what the crime was. 5 days from inauguration for the so-called convicted felon. Y'all have wiped his entire cabinet through the mud. You know, if they even cough, can we even get a report on them coughing? We're going to wipe them through the mud. If they wear a mask, these past 4 years. It's a disgrace. Did they say a curse word? Did any of those Trump nominees that Trump picked, did they say a bad word? Can we find anything on them? It's a disgrace, man. It is a disgrace. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to get that out of my system. I had to. Let's get into it, y'all.
So the Senate confirmation hearings for Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth provoked a very different reaction from the right as opposed to the left sides of the aisle. Republicans seemed on board with his confirmation, but Democrats were a united front against him, pointing out his lack of leadership experience, his controversial views on combat, and the personal allegations against him that he has denied. Take a look.
There was a coordinated smear campaign orchestrated in the media against us. All they were out to do, Mr. Chairman, was to destroy me.
You say, we need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units.
You have admitted that you had sex while you were married to wife 2 after you just had fathered a child by wife 3. You've admitted that. I assume that in each of your weddings, you've pledged to be faithful to your wife. You've taken an oath to do that, haven't you? I have failed in things in my life, and thankfully, I'm redeemed by my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
How can we ask these warriors to train and perform the absolute highest standards when you are asking us to lower the standards to make you the Secretary of Defense simply because you are buddies with our president-elect?
Drunk in front of 3 young female staff members after you had instituted a no alcohol policy and then reversed it. True or false?
Anonymous smears.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. What?
Here these women go, man.
Well, listen, I've said from the outset that Pete Hegseth is unqualified both on his moral character but also his experience. He served our country, but millions of Americans served our country. That doesn't make them prepared to take what I'd argue is the second most important job after President of the United States, being the only other individual who can deploy U.S. troops, the U.S. military. I think Republicans made a really bad decision to lower the bar for what they expect from the Secretary of Defense. Right. Usually these people are confirmed on a bipartisan basis. Jim Mattis, you may not have agreed with some position he had on Syria. He was objectively qualified, and Democrats and Republicans voted for him as Trump's first Secretary of Defense. I thought that Tammy Duckworth was the most effective because she challenged him on facts and duties of the job, and he came up short. He didn't know what ASEAN is. I have been to the ASEAN summit. I can name the countries that are in it, and I am woefully unqualified to be the Secretary of Defense. I actually would have preferred, though, I get calling out the moral failings. I kind of wish 1 or 2 did that because I think Dems think we're still living in an episode of The West Wing where, like, moral failings, everyone's going to get on board and be like, this is not okay. It's not the world we live in. We just elected Donald Trump. I think focusing on, hey, name the combatant commands, who heads them up, where are they located, talk about the future naval fleet, ask him questions about the job he's not prepared for and show that he's
they're not done yet. Aren't they not done yet? They're not done with that.
No, well, with him they are. But what about, I think the big question, and I think you're alluding to this, Alyssa, was what Alyssa Slotkin asked him. If he would stand up to Trump if asked to do an illegal action. So I want to watch the clip real quick.
Do you agree that there are some orders that can be given by the commander-in-chief that would violate the U.S. Constitution?
Senator, thank you for your service. But I reject the premise that President Trump is going to be giving illegal orders.
No, I'm not saying he will, but do you believe there is such a thing as an illegal order that Joe Biden or any other president, Donald Trump, could give? Is there anything that a commander-in-chief could ask you to do with the uniformed military that would be in violation of the U.S. Constitution?
Senator, anybody of any party
Right.
could give an order that is against the Constitution or against the law.
Right. Okay. So are you saying that you would stand in the breach and push back if you were given an illegal order?
I start by saying I reject the premise that President
I
Trump
understand.
will be giving
You've done your
any
genuflecting
illegal
to him,
orders
but
at all.
So I think that she kind of captures the easy questions. You should be able to ask that because anyone who is serving as a public servant takes an oath to the Constitution, not to an individual. That was a really easy underhand swing. And one last thing. Peter Hegseth has repeatedly talked about lowering the standards for women in combat. I just want to clarify a thing. They were never lowered. So I think we can all agree that we don't want to lower standards for anything in any area for any person. We want the best qualified. But the important part is he's now perpetuating as though it was ever true. Chief of Staff General Mark Milley said those standards were developed through years upon years of blood-soaked lessons learned in combat. They are neither male nor female. They are combat standards. So that was never a thing.
Y'all know the poll came out and 90% of people agreed with Pete Hegseth. The poll came out, 90% of people agreed with Pete Hegseth. Let's talk about that, man.
And to be clear, if you are a female that is in the armed forces in combat, you are probably overqualified for that position. I'll put that out there. But
yeah, same with Kamala. She was just a super hyper qualified woman of color, wasn't she, Sonny? You're super hyper qualified woman of color. Got up there, drunk as hell, couldn't put 2 sentences together. You know, your DEI candidate didn't earn it. Drunk the entire inventory. You gave her a layup, a softball. What she would have done different in the last 4 years? What would she would have done different than Joe Biden? So we want to thank you, Sonny. Every time you open up your mouth, look where you got your husband at. Just look where you got your husband. And this woman continues to open up her mouth. When is she gonna be off the show? Isn't she supposed to be getting fully investigated right now? With the whole law, RICO and law and insurance and all the fraudulent they've been doing.
Let me say this. You know, a lot of his responses were, this is just a smear campaign. This is just anonymous. Even his mother, I guess, is an anonymous source. He was saying these sorts of things.
And Pete Hegseth's mom came out live on Fox. And she's spoken about this publicly many times and cleared up all the smearing, all the fake news. She came out, and she just came out, a couple weeks ago. Sonny? But she still comes on here. This is why it's the spew, not the view, the spew. Never fails when they open up their mouth.
What I think that was very effective, along with what you thought was effective, was that we know that women represent almost 20% of the Department of Defense active duty force. More than 9,000 women have earned combat action badges. And he wrote in his book, so this is not anonymous because he wrote it, not only are women comparatively less effective than men in combat roles, but they are more likely to be objectified by the enemy and their own nation, in their own nation, in the moral realms of war. Dads push us to take risks. Mom put the training wheels on our bikes. We need moms, but not in the military, especially in combat units. And one last thing, not an anonymous source. He actually said this during a podcast, and we have a clip of that.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated.
So when he says that, it is not.
They ran a poll, and tons of men and women agreed. And tons of women agreed with what Pete Hegseth said.
Not anonymous. He said it, and we should believe him.
I haven't got much to add to this. I mean, it's depressing, the whole thing. He's so smug. He just sits there because he knows the fix is in. Yeah. You know, he knows. All he has to do is be...
You know, bad enough we got to hear Sonny, and then this woman opens up her mouth. I mean, you could have just, you didn't have to add to it, Joy. You should have just shut up. How do they have two people on the show named Sonny and Joy, and there's nothing positive, bright, happy, or exciting on the show? How do they have two people named Sonny and Joy, and we don't get nothing sunny, bright, or any joy? It's a disgrace, man. You should just shut up. Don't even say nothing. You just actually make it worse.
Loyal to Trump, and he's in, and the rest of them just follow suit. Even Joni Ernst, that was rather disappointing. She's a victim of sexual assault, and she's rolling over also for him. And also the FBI did not do their due diligence. I mean, they didn't even bother to talk to the woman who credibly accused him of sexual assault in 2017. Like they really were remiss when it came to Kavanaugh. They really didn't do their job. So it's very depressing to watch this happen and unfold. And, you know, this has been said before, but when he was in office the last time, he had Tillerson and Madison, people like that. He has nobody now for us. Nobody who's going to be in the guardrail, who's going to protect the American people from this insanity that's going
These women kill us, man, I tell you.
on.
I just put butter on my popcorn.
Yeah, Whoopi, put more butter on it. Pour more. Raise that blood pressure even more, Whoopi. Because guess what, baby girl? Guess what, Whoopi turds? It in 5 days. New beginnings. A change. And it can't get here any faster. Buckle up. Because these next 2 years, these next 4 years, and we want to tell you, the ABC, y'all are in big trouble. Legacy media, the liberal media, y'all are in big doo-doo. Yeah. Buckle up. Hope you're ready. Put more butter in that popcorn. Make it extra salty, Whoopi. Because we're going to enjoy this.